Recorded Books presents Leading the Way to Victory, a history of the 60th Troop Carrier Group, 1940 to 1945, by Colonel Mark C. Vlahos, USAF retired. Narrated by Pete Bradbury. Forward. As World War II unfolded in Europe during the late 1930s and early 1940s, U.S. military planners and senior staffs realized the nation's airlift and airborne combat capability was underdeveloped and out of date. The U.S. Army Air Forces relied largely on civil airline equipment and personnel to launch the Air Transport Command's intercontinental routes to overseas combat zones. A separate troop carrier command, with transport groups and newly formed airborne divisions, hammered out doctrinal concepts and tactical requirements for paratroop engagements. Constituted on November 20th, 1940, with three assigned sister units, the 10th, 11th, and 12th Transport Squadrons. The 60th Transport Group, TG, was one of the first such groups in the fledgling United States Army Air Corps, USAAC. Later, the 28th Transport Squadron was added to the group. The group was also later redesignated the 60th Troop Carrier Group, TCG, and the USAAC was redesignated the United States Army Air Forces, USAAF. During the spring of 1940, German forces invaded Denmark and Norway, using aerial assault units in a series of successful parachute and cargo airplane operations to seize key positions, and then relied on aerial resupply until more substantial forces joined up. U.S. military senior strategists took notice. German aerial units also attacked advanced strong points in their sweep through the Low Countries and into France. These actions involved parachutists as well as glider troops. U.S. military observers followed these operations even more keenly, because the battles in Europe made it clear that airborne operations had become an integral factor of modern warfare. Then, in the spring of 1941, Germany's aerial assault on the British island of Crete in the Mediterranean combined paratroops, gliders, and the use of air transports to carry the offensive completely. It was now obvious that the U.S. military appeared to lag seriously in this new art of warfare. During the summer of 1940, the U.S. Army had taken its first steps toward developing paratroop forces and planning for airborne assaults. It was a slow process with a steep learning curve, but Germany's aerial invasion of Crete accelerated preparations for field exercises, which included airborne units scheduled for long overdue full-scale maneuvers. Conducted in Louisiana, these exercises revealed that the U.S. armed forces were unprepared for modern war. The December 7, 1941 surprise attack on Pearl Harbor thrust the United States into World War II. Just 6 months later, in May 1942, flying new C-47 transport aircraft, the 60th TCG led the way as the first U.S. TCG to deploy to England and the European theater operations in World War II. The 60th TCG continued leading the way to victory. Taking off from England, the 60th TCG flew not only the first combat airborne mission in U.S. Army history, dropping U.S. paratroopers outside of Oran, North Africa, but also the longest airborne mission of the war. This drop spearheaded Operation Torch, the invasion of North Africa by taking key Axis airfields just inland from the amphibious landing zones. The 60th TCG would then go on to fly some of the first combat aeromedical evacuation missions, and the first mission towing CG-4A Waco gliders in combat during Operation HUSKY, the Invasion of Sicily. It was a school of hard knocks, paid for in blood, but many valuable lessons were learned as the new airborne, air-land, aeromedical evacuation, and glider missions matured in World War II, and the 60th TCG played a major role in this process. The role of glider pilots and glider troops is often overlooked. 6,500 glider pilots served in U.S. units, a unique group who not only commanded aircraft, but also fought as infantry after landing their gliders. Glider pilots often became the first airborne troops to step onto enemy-held soil, and they played a key role in preliminary assaults from Sicily to northern Europe to the Far East. These pilots also experienced some of the highest casualty rates in World War II. Glider pilots were an integral part of troop carrier squadrons,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?